Hey, this is Brook. I'm a guitar teacher in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I had a lesson yesterday that made me think a little bit. A student came in. He's age 64, like I am, and he said, I want to learn something. I want to change things up. I want you to teach me or go over a video that he sent me. So I opened it up, and it was the Doobie Brothers listen to the music. So I pressed play, and I just played right along with the thing. I was and I'm like, cool, let's go. But I noticed his video was set up to capo 4 and had different chords. I'm like, what? Okay, let's check it out. And so they're trying to get you to go. Something like that. And I was like, okay, well, I said that reminds me of, actually it sounded pretty good right here. And, because I was doing this hammer on. It's in the ballpark, and I understand. It reminds me of like those easy Beatles guitar books or something where they play a little bit of the guitar part, then they play a little bit of the melody, a little bit of the chords, but they're kind of shortcut chords. And or like easy Led Zeppelin for guitar. I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. I have not really been impressed with those kind of books. But so we kind of ended up talking about it for most of the lesson. I was just like, wouldn't it be better just to learn it more like the record? And then you get that low E and that hammer, and the voicing just sounds a little more like the record. And plus you get that versus, that's kind of like the Stones, Keith Richards thing. You can't really get, you're just going pretty small detail, but that'd be the main difference. This has got that open E. I mean, I don't really care, but I'm like, well, what else? What are we gonna do next? What he wanted to kind of chuck bar chords out the window because he's frustrated, understandable. So I really work hard to accommodate everybody, and I realize guitar is very difficult, especially bar chords. And some of my students have injured fingers or arthritis, and so we have to work around that stuff. So I'm kind of like, well, where do you draw the line, or are we just going to forget about sight reading, my chord book, scales, and just look for videos that have shortcuts, or are we going to mix it up, or what is the plan now? So I've spent kind of dedicated my life to teaching guitar and helping people. It's not like I don't want to help people. But at what point do you say, hey, you control the lesson now, and you pick the material, and I work for you, boss, you know? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's going to happen next? So my point on that song was, okay, make sure to get the strumming, and which we didn't really get resolved. But if you're going to use the capo, you got to get that stop. You're kind of stopping the notes. You can't just go. That doesn't work. You got to go. And I'm just not even using a pick. If you had a pick, it'd be the same thing. It's pretty fluid strumming. Or let's say no capo. It's pretty delicate, and that stop with your picking hand is something that students don't always get. So, yeah, guitar is really complex. There's so many moves between the picking hand and the fretting hand. You have to know two things at the same time, and they have to cooperate. And it's really hard to make all that happen quickly. Guys, like his point was, the student's point was, hey, I'm 64, I don't have much time left. And I've heard guys say that before. Guys like, I'm 50, I don't have much time left. I know. Well, how many lessons do I have left, or how many gigs do I have to play? I don't know. I'm still active, but are we just going to forget about scales? Are we going to forget about stretching? I think learning your fingering is still going to be important. Working on your scales, arpeggios, timing, more chord voicings. In my chord book, I start people out with bar chords like this. A D major 7, really soft. But people just want to move forward. Of course, you don't want to be stuck on that. Sounds like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something. It's just too boring, I suppose. But I've spent my life contemplating simple chords like that. So, it's hard for me just to say, well, throw that away and let's just break out the capo and do cowboy chords. I mean, yeah, I use cowboy chords all the time. But I'm just struggling with trying to figure out, or, what's going to happen next is kind of what I'm contemplating. So, my question is, are there shortcuts on guitar? And if so, I don't know. I mean, here's a shortcut. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. So minimalism, I like minimal, melodic, simple, primitive things. So why am I giving this guy a hard time for using the capos? I'm trying to figure out. Or I'm not saying the capo is bad. If you want to use it for a certain sound, I always use this example. whatever. uh, Sometimes the capo is the best way to get a certain sound. I get it. For a unique sound. But to chuck bar chords, that's what I'm grappling with. So forgive me for beating it into the ground, but what do you think about shortcuts? I mean, what would you do? Just accommodate the student and just, basically I'm just going to say, well, what video do you want to look at next? All right, well, play it then. Let's hear you play it since you've already picked out the video. And in a way, why am I here? What's my job now? So I have nothing against learning from videos. I do it if I get stuck on a part. I'll just go check out and see if I find a video that really fits it. But one I didn't find was Working Man Blues by Merle Haggard. I have a student that's grappling with, should we learn it in A flat when everybody plays it in A? Should I learn it exactly like the recorded version, James Burton's, in A flat? However it was, I got it written out. I figured it out. I forgot it already. Or should we learn it in A? Which all transcriptions and all videos kind of say, here it is in A. So, I transcribed it. I didn't see anybody that had written it out in A flat. So, it sounds like the record was done in A flat. And so, I'm just trying to obviously I'm thinking about it. So, I'm just trying to accommodate everybody, yet kind of maintain my program, I guess, as a teacher. So, yeah, I'll do, I have students that want to learn extreme, like low-tuned, weird-tuned metal, or weird-tuned pop songs with a capo by some New Zealand super obscure guitar player, or I'm talking about some really weird tunings that I've sat and picked out for students. So I'm not against being flexible, but I'm just trying to figure out. It's kind of fun. It's fun to think about. So I shall meet this challenge, and but I'm not going to take any bullshit off anybody either. So, I don't need the money that bad. So, I will continue to serve, but I will also continue with my program the way I see fit. So I guess we'll find some middle ground somewhere. So that's something to think about, and I hope that this video wasn't too long and boring. But in the meantime, whoa, listen to the music. Yeah.